Bikes get stolen. All of us have had bikes. I've had bikes stolen. I think bikes are easy to cop because we usually don't lock them up. Yeah. Or if I lock them up, I fake it because I can't remember the combination. Or I just put a chain around, think it'll be
shoelace.
It's my own fault. Yeah. But a friend of mine saw her mother's bike in your lot, and she recognized it. And as she walked up, there was some, hey, wait, what are you doing? You can't take that again. And she explained it was like, oh yeah, it's your mother's bike. So she took, and she delivered her mother's bike back to her.
Oh, that's good.
And then, I mean, that's a usual story that it's usually not happy ending stuff.
Yeah.
When the whiskey kicks in, you know that I'm sinning. When it gets passed around, it turns me upside down. I always keep a man by my side. It's the only place that I've got left to hide, yeah. Every night that I go out on the town,
Hey, hi kids. You tuned back in, or was this an accident? Did you really mean that? Hey, I'm Gary Gillett, and this is Music in Missoula. Yeah, I got the name right that time. And we're back with one of the setups that Scott does for the show, and I have no idea. I have very little idea about this gentleman who we're going to chat with today. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. In my own mind, I think it's Italian, and I think it's Bob Giordano.
Giordano.
Oh, God, Giordano. Now, I will never forget it now. This is Bob Giordano, and we know him from Free Cycles. That's how I know him. But Free Cycles is also this place that does music, and that's why the interest point, the intersection of my life and in Missoula is the musical aspect. And it's not on purpose, it's because I can't help it. But he also does bikes, or he does bikes and he also does music. I don't know. But I think it's about damn time to find out, don't you? Bob, who are you?
I'm just a regular Bob. Been in Missoula for almost 30 years.
Okay. Where'd you come from?
I came from Virginia. I'm tempted
Urban?
to say, rural.
Okay.
The woods. I was tempted to say Alabama. Banjo on my knee type thing.
You don't have the accent. You could have, I don't know, I don't think you could have pulled that off.
Yeah, I've been here for a while.
Right.
So.
Rural Virginia, what brought you? Hey, you were just in the hills?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like West Virginia. I mean, that whole area. I'm from Detroit, so we would travel from Detroit to Florida on spring break. So that's my extent of knowing that area. Yeah. But I went to in Virginia, the home of Monticello.
Yes.
All right, and that dark secret we now know about with Ben Franklin. No, who was it? George Washington's summer house? Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, the tree?
Yeah, no, the African American woman. They fathered all these children.
That's true.
But I remember going to Monticello and on the way down to the coast, Navy yards. I remember going down and with my father, who's a Navy vet, and he wanted to show me the shipyards or whatever it was. He had a connection to those from the war.
Well, there is a connection there. When I moved to Virginia, I was only 3 years old. My parents wanted the family to go south from the Boston area. And I would play out in the woods. The woods seemed endless. And apparently, Monticello was about a mile away through the woods from where I lived. Oh. And that experience of being out in the woods, playing in the creeks, just being in nature. When I came west, I kind of got that feeling again, the big mountains, the rivers, and my roots kind of started to sink down in Missoula. I had a business background from North Carolina State, but really ecology and nature and conservation became my passion.
And now, why didn't you study that stuff in school?
Well, I went on to graduate school and studied that here, and then I really started thinking about people driving all the time, everywhere.
Hey, just so you know, that he showed up on his bike. I took the fat guy, but I took the bus, so we didn't burn any. Uh-oh. Scott probably drove. Okay, that's all right.
Hey, we
One
got
out of three, not
multimodal
bad.
transportation here.
Oh, that's right. You guys got a name for that stuff.
Yes.
Multimodal. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, indeed. I remember this childhood in the East, but just because we say the East, most folks think of urban. And I was 30 miles out of Detroit, and I grew up building dams in the creek and building forts and climbing trees and all that stuff far enough away from the city, though I could get to, I could get down to go to concerts in downtown Detroit and then get back away from it again. And so I've always been drawn to rural, and we have that similarity.
Yeah, it was my roots, and then that sparks me to remember that Charlottesville was 1 hour away, and they would have bands playing there, and we'd not sneak off, but we'd take off for the night, go check out music, Widespread Panic, Fish, Indecision, some of those bands just starting up, and I remember that was very formative now for my musical blossoming and just seeing live music,
that was
witnessing it.
The real advantage of growing up close to urban was that there were enough people there to draw in at venues. Yeah, I remember being able to either go to Detroit or go to Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor stuff was all a little more park-like. Their outside gigs and a little looser than the stuff I'd go to in Detroit.
Yeah.
All right, so why'd you come out to Montana?
Well, I wanted to see the West. I'd heard a lot about it, and when I came through Missoula, it resonated with me, and actually we passed through.
We passed. Did you come out with?
No, we were just moving through.
Okay,
we stayed for a night, and I remember the first Hot Tuna was playing at the Top Hat. This is around 1992, and it was Yorma. I can't pronounce his last name. The lead guitarist. It was his birthday, and it was the old Top Hat, and we just had a great time. So when it came time to choose, do I go get a job somewhere or maybe go back to graduate school?
Did you continue on west or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Grateful Dead concerts, Jerry Garcia band. We sold T-shirts, just kind of those carefree days. Worked at Big Mountain and Whitefish. Just kind of moved around. But then I started thinking ecology, conservation, climate change. It was just starting to get talked about. I started to get involved in community and started thinking, what is my future? What is the future of the planet? And decided to start Free Cycles, a simple program where people could build free bikes and try to nudge people into biking instead of driving everywhere.
Was it just your idea? Was it just a fluke, or did you work in a bike shop here in town?
No, I didn't even know how to patch a flat tire, patch a tube when I started Free Cycles. It was a group of us, a small group in Missoula. I had heard about this concept of free yellow bikes on the corners of Portland, Oregon. You could just hop on a bike and go. So the first 2 or 3 years, all Free Cycles Missoula was painting bikes green and putting them around town.
Okay, I remember that.
We didn't have enough of them, 50 bikes going around town. People started to say, well, how about a shop where you could build your own bike? How about a bike I could borrow? How about learning about the rules of the road? How about advocacy for a better bike-friendly city? So all these things started churning, and we've had an organic growth for almost 30 years. We have a community facility, 2 acres, 28,000 square foot building on South First Street, and I just left a busy shop. There's probably 5 people building free bicycles right now. So anyone can do it. And you can do it. You can build a free bike.
Yeah, and one of my kids, I can't remember which one of them, one of my kids did the bike thing, built the bike there. I felt I had this crappy old bike that I fell into. Somebody traded me some furniture for it. I needed a bike, and then I got a better bike. A buddy sold me a bike for because he was a buddy, and then I had my crappy old bike. I went, what do I do? I brought it down.
Oh, thank you.
Donated it.
Thank you.
I just talked to another friend as an upcoming to our interview, and that she had noticed, because bikes get stolen. All of us have had bikes. I've had bikes stolen. I think bikes are easy to cop because we usually don't lock them up. Or if I lock them up, I fake it because I can't remember the combination. Or I just put a chain around, think it'll be
shoelace.
It's my own fault. But a friend of mine saw her mother's bike in your lot, and she recognized it. And as she walked up, there was some, hey, wait, what are you doing? You can't take that again. And then she explained it was like, oh yeah, I used to do your mother's bike. And so she took, and she delivered her mother's bike back to her.
Oh, that's good.
And then, I mean, that's a usual story that it's usually not happy ending stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you, and I hate to talk about money, but how do you pull it off?
Generosity, karma, the cycle of giving. We give, the more we give, the more we get. It's a crazy thing. I have an accounting undergraduate degree, and I wanted to leave that behind.
Oh, I can understand why.
Yeah,
Why did your parents make you take accounting? A bean counter degree?
Yeah, you can't sit in a cubicle for your whole life with a coat and tie. You got to get out into the parks and trails and build things with your hand, grow things, grow gardens. I'm happy to be in Missoula and kind of this green city that we're all trying to hold on to. And you know, we could easily overgrow ourselves and become too big and too much traffic. Missoula's at a crossroads. I'm serving on a committee that's looking at the growth policy, zoning, and code reform. And I encourage everyone to get their 2 cents or 4 cents in about, you know, retaining that charm and growing new charm so we don't just sprawl everywhere. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
I bet, because people just like us, even though we've been here for 30 or 40 years, you know, I know the allure, and I know that it was to come west, because that's what my soul told me to do. And I came west and went, oh yeah, man, and this is the place that I hang out, and I'm gonna have a family and have a career, and I'm not going anywhere. Why the hell would I move anywhere else? Except that I see the city changing, and things will change, but then not all change is good, and some change is poor or unfortunate. And can we do something to keep the sprawl and from humanity overtaking us? So it's going to be like what we ran away from. Though we complain about the people that move here now for the same reasons that we came 30 and 40. It's hard, man. I'm glad that you're grappling with it, because
I grapple with it on a day-to-day basis, and Free Cycles is, you might say, at the heart of it, a community center where people can work together, all colors and stripes. We help each other. And that also led to the creation of Missoula Institute for Sustainable Transportation. So that's research and advocacy. I'm always learning about what are other cities doing so that traffic does not literally run them over.
Okay.
We have 10 crashes a day in this valley. We have a few deaths every year. Not good. We promote roundabouts, 1 lane. Not 2 lanes, not 3, 1 lane.
Because the 2 lanes are too confusing, man.
Yeah, it's
probably more dangerous as well.
They are more dangerous. We have not had a confirmed injury at any Missoula roundabout. Meanwhile, every other day there's an injury at a stoplight. So be careful. Just because you have a green light, you still may want to look and be careful, whether you're walking, biking, or driving, or on the bus. Make sure your bus driver is paying attention.
I've admonished 1 or 2.
Yes.
I had a good one today. A very pleasant fella.
My wife and I went to visit family this past summer. We took a bus from Boston to Cape Cod. The driver started to fall asleep while we were on the bus, and he was driving down the highway.
You get his attention, did you?
Yes. Luckily, we were sitting in the front seat.
Oh, okay.
My wife sent me a note. You think he's falling asleep? I looked. He's nodding off. We said, Mr. Bus Driver, where are you from again?
And getting engaged in conversation to try to keep him
I'm glad to
awake
be here
and alive.
Today, you know, this driving thing. It's magical, but it's you got to be careful.
It's so easy. It's so easy to fall into not paying attention. And that's why I like riding the bus.
It's easy. So, you know, I'm doing free cycle things. I'm doing these missed advocacy things. I'm looking at growth. But we have a space on First Street that is all wood. It's a hall. It's just prime for music and theater and dance. What are you doing Saturday night?
Running, finally found a home on the peaks of Montana. That's where I choose to roam. No, I ain't rich, I sure ain't poor. Yeah, the road is rocky when you leave town. Not a man to stand by. It's just a land to lead you on. No, no, I ain't rich. I sure ain't poor. No Montana. Always something to know.
Are you an old garage band dude?
No, I have a fiddle. I can play it, but I've never
That
been in a
happened
band.
after you've been out here.
Yeah.
Okay. And what begot the music aspect of this?
I don't know. It was an organic, natural thing. When bikes and music, they go together. But when we moved into our current facility in 2005, after jumping around from garages, suddenly we had a place that bands said, you know, hey, can we play here Friday night? We'll play for free. Put a donation jar out. You keep the money, or we'll split it.
Oh, was it their idea, not yours?
Mostly, it's bands coming to us saying we would love to play here.
Because we've lost
There's
so
not a
many
whole lot of-
venues,
Yes.
especially for local kids to be able to play.
Yes, we focus on local. We get touring bands that want to stop and play, and I try to say yes. I'm the scheduler. Try to say yes to as many as possible, but we limit it to about 2 concerts, gatherings a month. There's a lot of smaller events that go on, and banjo players and singers and karaoke and DJs, young ones, old ones. It's really the variety and the diversity that we're trying to promote.
What was the building before you came into it?
The Hightower family had it as a steel yard, a steel business, and we started renting in 2005, and about 10 years later, they decided to sell the property. We took a chance and said, can we buy it? It took us several times to ask, and finally they said, all right, we're gonna give you 6 months to come up with a $1.1 million. And if you succeed, the property's yours. If you don't, we've got other people that want to turn this into apartments or condominiums.
Yeah.
So we did a wild campaign, and we raised enough for a down payment, and then someone in town loaned us the rest. We pay her on a monthly basis. We have some renters that pay us, and we pay her. So it works out pretty well. Next summer, we do have to refinance. So if anyone out there is looking for a way to give back.
With a deep pocket.
Yeah, it can be a shallow pocket.
Okay.
It can just, a lot of pennies add up to a waterfall or something like that.
So the whole music aspect was driven mostly by folks coming to you.
Yes.
Yeah, both my sons were in garage bands. I was a garage band kid as a youth, and I watched venues shrivel up for my own kids. I went off to music school and such, but my kids had a metal band and a brass band, and looking for places to play. And the older they got, the more those venues just disappeared. Economics, I imagine, is why they disappeared. About how they keep the lights on during the day, but be able to offer a venue in the evening.
Right. So for us, bike shop by day, community center by day. It just makes sense to try to get some more use out of the building. And all of our shows are generally 7 to 10, so it's a kind of a sweet spot. It's a time that, frankly, a lot of us can make it at.
Sure. And it keeps the neighbors from complaining about.
That's important. Very important.
Traffic and
yes, noise
sound
levels.
Well, musicians don't like to talk about noise, but sound levels.
Sound. and our neighbors, I've talked to them all. It's not really the sound from inside, but 100, 200 people leaving at once and laughing and talking, that does have an impact. So we actually moved our entrance a little bit further from some of the neighbors, and that has worked out really well.
Nice. And do you serve alcohol?
No.
So and
we have it available. We have a complimentary cafe, Gary. You will not see this in many community centers. We put out kombucha, coffee, tea, a little bit of beer, popcorn, hot potatoes. We made a brick oven outside. It's about community. So if we have food, we have beverages, and a donation jar out. It's quite different than your typical venue. We don't even like to call the place a venue.
A venue, because it's got negative connotation
It's a
to it,
community
doesn't it?
space, or maybe it's a venue, not a venue.
Oh.
Have you heard that one yet?
I've not heard that before, and I'm surprised it came out of your lips. But
Yeah. Venue. It's all of us together.
about how to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
in the facility, the community. It just blows my mind. I'm glad and that it exists and that the longevity shows that the model appears to be working.
It's working. We tweak it all the time. You will not hear me say, let's build community. You'll hear me these days say, let's grow community.
All right.
Let's not build relationships, let's grow relationships.
And it certainly sounds more
This
organic.
thing doesn't build, it grows. It's organic, it's a stewardship.
It sounds less businessy
Yes.
to artists.
Yes, yes. And at the end of the day, we're about cultivating relationships and community, having a good time. I have noticed when people come to a show, an event, if they know the people on stage, just add something to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
always
go to-
want to play for your friends.
Yeah, you go to Virginia City, maybe they know you by now.
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. It's
don't
not-
you like playing your hometown?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because people know you
Yeah.
and you already have a relationship with them. They have some expectation. And
Yes.
then my job is to be entertaining, but not to be boring. So not to do the same old thing. And as an old person, I have a tendency to fall into that because it's comfortable and I understand it. I know it. So
Yeah.
I have to kick myself.
Stay on your toes.
Not to be boring and old.
I wonder if, now do you lead the city band or you've
Yeah,
been
that's
doing
my
that?
pretend job in the summer.
Do you do that inside at all?
No.
Or is it all the parks?
It's all the.
'Cause I'm just wondering if you could come play at Free Cycle.
It's just parks, but I have other. I have a. Yes, I could come and down there with one of my other things. The city band got not contractual, but we're a quasi entity of the city. We get a little bit of money from the city, and we built the band shell and sold it to them for $1.
Oh.
All right, and then, so we get first dibs on it. We don't have to worry about the noise ordinance. And since COVID, we've also rehearsed there because it
Yeah.
was so hard getting into schools
Yeah.
that I rehearsed outside, and it was like, well, this works out just. I'd much rather be outside than
Yeah.
inside anyway in the summertime. But I have a number of ensembles that I have. Like last night, I played Tuba Santa. I do Tuba Santa,
Yeah.
a tuba quartet with.
Oh, gosh.
Santas, and in the fall we do Oktoberfest with Lederhosen. So I did the German
good.
Fest.
That's beautiful.
But one of those ensembles, Tubercon during St. Patrick's Day, that any of those would fit the venue. But what I have to do is I want to come down and walk through. I think I
Yeah.
just walked into the office and said, "Hey, I've got this old bike. Will it be of some use to
Yes.
anybody?" And are you sure?
Yeah.
Sure, here, take it. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good, because I didn't want to throw it away.
No. You gotta reuse and recycle.
So, do you have, since you book everything, is it all by word of mouth?
Yes.
Because you're not a booking agent. You're not tapped into, the boy down here at the
No.
top hat. All that national
No.
flow.
Word of mouth. We get a lot of the requests come in. It's like, hey, I ran into so and so on the last tour. They said, Free Cycles is a good place to play in Missoula. It's got a good vibe, and I'll look at the calendar and maybe try to fit them in. And it's tough. If we had an event coordinator, which we don't, and we kept working to minimize impacts on the neighborhood and on the bike shop. It can be a challenge to switch gears and go from bike shop and then space where 200 people gather.
Yeah.
These are things we're working on because I would love to have more of these evening things. I think it's important for community to gather, and especially in the winter when we want to be with each other, but bar, maybe not.
Yeah, it gets
Someone's
a little
house,
quick.
well, that's kind of small.
Too small.
We need halls. We need places to gather, and
Yeah.
I think I see a strong future for Missoula. I know of other places that are starting to think a lot along the same way. So I'm excited. I would encourage people to open up in the urban planning field, they might be called third spaces. It's not the total private, it's not maybe a public park, but it's kind of a little bit of both.
It's got a wonderful idea to it. I like it. Who do you have coming in this weekend?
Oh gosh, this Saturday.
They're road acts, right?
Two are local,
Oh.
and one is international. We have the Scurfs playing an early set at 7, surf rock, so good.
Surf rock.
Transcendental Express at 8. Oh, you would not believe the musicianship. of these.
Is it a local?
Yes, incredible. And then from Calgary, Apollo Sons. I don't know anything about them. I'm excited to see this show.
Now, how do you find? I have all kinds of former students that go off and try to make it, and they go to LA and they have to come up with $2,000 to play a venue. They have to pay just to get in the door to play.
Ooh, that's an interesting concept.
That's not a way that's not a sustainable venue procedure for bands trying to share their music. What do you do with money?
Well, the arrangement that's kind of organically grown, we usually charge $10 at the door.
Okay.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
We never turn anyone away. There's always a handful like, I got $1. Come on in.
Okay.
I got nothing. Come on in. Maybe you can wash some mugs later.
Okay.
Sure. Maybe come back and volunteer. Never turn anyone away. The bands get 2/3 of the proceeds. Free Cycles gets 1/3. It's a simple arrangement.
Oh, it is.
We pay a sound person, usually $200 in that range. We got some good sound techs.
And do you have your own sound system?
You wouldn't believe.
Does that come with the service that you pay? Who's your sound guy?
I can't pronounce his last name. Chris. He does a lot for public radio.
All right.
Moyles? Do you know Chris?
I don't know him.
Matt Olson used to do sound a whole lot.
Yeah, I know
he
Matt.
moved away. We bought his sound system with a GoFundMe. Awesome sound system. The main speakers, the bass, a lot of monitors and mics. It's a quality system. And the room being all wood sounds pretty good.
Tall enough ceilings?
Taller, about as tall as these.
And this is like a dozen at least, maybe more than that, huh?
Maybe 14. I think ours is a foot higher than this.
And how big's the hall? Is it?
We can hold. It's about 4,000 square feet.
What's that? Like the gym?
Not that big. Not as big as a gym. So it's
Okay.
cozier than that. A third of a gym.
Okay. Stage?
Yes, about this high.
Okay.
Pretty wide. Pretty big.
And there's folding chairs?
Yeah, chairs, a big dance floor, little green room, a fire pit outside, the complimentary cafe I talked about. I really think you all should come.
I think so. It sounds more and more enjoyable. And I think getting to it, I think I could find it. Because it's on the south side of the river, right?
Yeah, a little hidden. You know, First Street takes a little corner there.
Yeah.
And we're near McCormick Park. And it's where the trails intersect. The Bitterroot Trail and the River Trail, we're very close to that. So it is a very walkable, bikeable. I'm going to ask everyone to walk and bike to the shows. Then we can have more of them if everyone's not driving around the neighborhood and honking their horn.
Boy, am I glad I didn't drive down here today. Oh, man, the guilt would have just been overwhelming to me. Because it was...
How about our bus system? How about this library? Winning awards left and right.
Hey, it's already gone past, but it was the world's finest library. The world's greatest, the world's. And when I questioned that, just in passing, but I was jumped by a buddy of mine saying, yes, it is. And he schooled me, and I became a believer.
Sunshine, come back another day. Promise you I'll be singing. This whole world, she gonna turn around. Brand new bells be ringing. How much does it cost? I'll buy it. Time is all we've lost. I'll try it. He can't even run his own life. I'll be damned if you run mine. Sunshine.
I know the director just through my daughter-in-law who knew her in Seattle. So I was out promoting for her to get this gig, and she's done wonderful work. And I walk 3 blocks from my house to catch a city bus to come here to do this shtick, and I'll get on the bus and get home. Now it takes me a little longer. So what? I sit
else
on
you gotta do?
I sit on the same side of the bus, so when I drive home, I get the view of the other side of the valley.
Yeah. Leave the driving to someone else.
Yes.
Walk into the bus gives you a little time to smell the roses.
And almost,
see your
and I
community.
call it exercise for fat old. I don't count my steps, but by God, I walk
Maybe you want to
some.
walk to the bus like this.
I thought,
We'll extend it out a little
yeah,
bit.
I have done that
Okay.
when I get early.
Yeah.
And that would be a help to me.
I gotta mention something.
Please.
We're talking about the public library, public buses. We're providing basically public bicycles. The public spaces that I've studied and visited in Europe. Have you traveled in Europe?
I have not.
They have plazas and zocolos and community gathering spaces. Well, the car took all that away.
Yeah.
The car took over all the public space. So now we're left without those gathering places. You look at old Missoula photos, you see people in parks and plazas, on the street corners, a lot of busking and lively music. So in a way, this really fits for us to bring back some gathering place at Free Cycles because it's disappeared from our public realm. So that's another tie-in to why does Free Cycles gather people in the evenings to have celebrations, ceremonies, and social events? Well, the car took a lot of that away, and so it's a way for us to promote community, really, positive community.
Now, there's a couple of other Venmos in town. The Imagination
Yes? I
came
like
in
that.
with a similar
Yes?
philosophy from what I know about it.
Yeah, the back deck area.
Yeah. And then
inside
this
is
cider joint. I've
Yeah,
got a neighbor that
right
works
across
at
the street
and,
there.
and I've done some. I thought that was in your neighborhood, just
Yeah.
on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
One of my grandkids had a birthday party or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in this community space, a little more intimate than a park.
Yeah.
All right, and so it's got a private part to it, but they sell a product to keep the lights on.
Yes.
And that's that's what sets apart from your model. That
Yeah.
I love the idea of not having to sell something to make it work.
Yeah.
That you've clicked onto something, and you grab it onto it, making it better.
Yeah, my business degree, it's all about product and sales and all these things, and it just kind of, it's like, is that what really life is about? Well, we need some of it. We sell some bikes. That's one of our revenue streams, but we give away probably 2,000 free bicycles a year. Anyone just volunteers 90 minutes, and they can build a free bicycle. Kids 10 and under, no volunteering required. So we keep people coming in, and some people can't afford to donate a nickel. Some are pretty generous, and that's, it's a model that I would like to see of the world.
Yeah.
Those who can give. Those who can't, don't stress about it.
You got a good recommendation. One of my musicians buddies is Don Gisselbeck, who is a local bike mechanic, and he plays trombone. Scott, we all play trombone, and when I told him that I was going to chat with you, and he had nothing but great things with what could be seen as competition.
Yeah.
And not at all,
Yeah.
because Don is himself. Most bike cats seem to be more communally invested.
Yeah, that's the definition of a bike cat, is communal investment person. You didn't know that?
No idea.
Yeah, now you know.
Now I got to remember.
We early in the early days, you're going to provide free bikes and you're going to teach people how to repair their own flat? Well, I don't know. What's that going to do to my retail shop, bike shop model? And I think what's been cultivated is we just try to put more people on bikes, get more people interested in bikes, get more protected bike lanes and trails in town. Really, our goal is to see the retail bike shops do extremely well.
Because there's a
We
whole
wanna
class of people
Yeah.
that will pay somebody else
Yeah.
to work on
Someone
their
might
stuff.
build their own free bike at Free Cycles to start with, then they might get a little itch and want to spend some money on something fancy and new.
an
That's
upscale
good.
bike.
Yeah.
I love it.
Maybe you should come build a bike.
I've got this beautiful bike now. I bought for my buddy, and it's more bike than I deserve.
Road bike? Mountain bike?
No, not mountain
is it?
bike. So it's a road bike. It's actually a ladies' bike, so I don't have to fall it down like.
Oh, there's no
like
such
Joe
thing.
Biden.
They're just-
just easy access bike.
Yeah, they're unisex.
Yeah,
for everyone.
But it's pink too. But that's all right.
That's a
I'm
beautiful
cool with
color.
that.
Yeah, you got a little pink in the shirt here. And a little pink on the fern here.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So I do have a
Thank-
bike. Thank you.
Yeah.
But the musical venue, I've got to get there and check it out and bring somebody down.
Yeah.
Hot dang.
I'm putting you on the guest list for the next 3 shows.
All right.
Just tell the door person they'll wave you in. All right.
Yeah, I can always, hey, I don't have any money because, I am retired on a part of a pension. That's all I have,
Yeah.
I'm not poor, but I try to live sustainably.
Yes.
But not,
That's good. Thank you.
half-assed.
Thank you. Better than zero.
Anything else you'd like to share with us, buddy?
Well, if anyone has an extra bike, bring it on down. If anyone's thinking about building a bike, come on over. 90 minutes of volunteering. I do want to encourage people to get involved in this growth policy reform. Do we want? I think we need more little green homes and walkable, bikeable neighborhoods and corner grocery stores. You should be able to walk to the corner grocery store.
Yeah.
Like you could used to be able to
be a
do.
savory there.
Yeah. That's all I got. I really appreciate you having me in today.
Well, I'd like to thank Scott Ramp, who puts everything all together. He suggested this and thought it might be a good gig, and sure heck, it's all kinds of fun, man.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, thank you,
Hey,
Gary.
Bob Giordano,
Yeah.
and Free Cycles, and this, I'm Gary Gillett. It doesn't matter. And this is music in Missoula. Ciao.
Our blue trail of sorrow lying on the ground. I get so lonesome since you let me down. Well, I used to be so happy walking on these streets. Now I got sadness. Everyone I meet, start walking, baby, walk all over town.